everybody, namaste, good morning, and welcome to today's event, which is celebrating the International Day of Yoga and Mental Health. Okay, so first we're going to run over why do we celebrate International Day of Yoga. So do you know why we celebrate International Day of Yoga? I don't know, should we ask them? Why do you guys think we celebrate the International Day of Yoga? Do you want to just type it in the chat if you do have any ideas? Does anybody know? If nobody knows, then Maria, you go on, explain. Okay. So it's celebrated across the globe, and it's to highlight the importance of yoga, to celebrate yoga. And it's been beneficial in keeping the body, the mind in sound health. And it's considered as a holistic approach and targeting the different systems of the body and the mind. And yoga renews the mind with confidence. And overall, it aligns the body spiritually and mentally. Yeah, a lot of people think that yoga is just for your physical body and physical health, but it's actually a lot more than that. It's very beneficial mentally and spiritually, like Rhea said, and it is a key aspect of Hinduism as well. So today's event, so I'll just briefly outline the structure, even though the poster is in front of you guys. So we're going to start off with a practical yoga workshop with Dr. Abhaya Mohan. So the first one will be children's yoga at 10 a.m. and it's for any ages, 5+. And anyone can join in, even if you want to try it out. 10:30 is adults yoga, also with Dr. Abhaya Mohan. And then hopefully that will finish around 11:15, where we will also have a talk about nutrition for an Asian diet with Dr. Santosh Khokhar. And then after that, at 11:45, we'll have a talk about mental health and how the pandemic has affected our mental health with Darshan Pindoria. Great. So, as Tisha said, the first session is a practical yoga workshop, and it is led by Dr. Abhaya, and she is a naturopath, acupuncturist and yoga therapist with a long-standing experience in providing wellness solutions. She imparts yoga training to families, adults and kids in and around the Bexley area. And her training aligns with individual needs to support and achieve their wellness goals. So Dr. Abhaya has actually been leading this session every year, so thank you so much for that. Okay, so now she's going to start the practical session. So please feel free to have your cameras on, and don't hesitate to try it. It's an introductory session, and I'm sure it's beginner friendly as well. So give it a go. Even if you've never done yoga before, you never know, you might really like it. So I think everyone should just try, and we'll hand it over to Dr. Abhaya Mohan. Thank you.
Thank you, Tisha and Rhea. Hello, everyone. I can see a few faces here, but it would be great if you can switch on the video for me. I can just directly talk to you. I can see you doing some yogas, nice poses. All right, if you're comfortable, of course. Okay. So, yes, I got a few more faces now. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so shall we start doing some quick yoga without wasting our time? Yes, are you all ready? Okay, so first what you're going to do is you're going to sit comfortably in any pose you like. Okay, but make sure you're sitting down on the floor, okay? And this is Kunjal. Yes, Kunjal, could you please sit on the floor, not on the chair, darling? Sit on the floor. That's it. Well done. Yes. Perfect. Yeah, move that chair a bit more. That side. Yeah, so that you can do, when you do some poses, it won't hinder you. All right. Yeah, perfect now. Perfect. Okay. All right. Well done. Now sit straight. Remember, you have to keep your back nice and straight. You're not sitting like this. Nice and straight. Okay. Make your spine straight. Sit very nice and straight. Perfect. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes for me. Okay. Keep your eyes closed until I say open. Right? Keep your eyes closed. Yes. Very good. No peeking in between. Keep your eyes closed. Perfect. And you're going to breathe in. A nice deep breath in. Breathe in nicely. And breathe out. Once again, breathe in nicely. And breathe out. Once more, breathe in nicely. And breathe out. Well done, guys. Now keep your eyes closed. Perfect. Now, we are going to do Om chanting for 3 times. Louder, okay? And you're going to do it with me, all right? So I will guide you how to do it. So let's take a deep breath in once more and chant Om. Om. Once again, breathe in nicely and chant. Once more, breathe in. Perfect. Now keep your eyes closed. Don't open your eyes yet. Keep your eyes closed. Perfect. Now, you're going to rub your both palms together. You're going to make them super duper hot. Right? Super duper hot. Rub it nicely. Eyes closed. Perfect. Now, keep that both palms on your eyes. Hi, you can feel that warmness, right? Yes. Nicely on your eyes. And slowly take your palms away and slowly open your eyes. Perfect, guys. Well done. Okay, now would you like to stand up? Come stand up. Straight. Well done. Now we are going to do some poses. All right? I'll name them. I know you must have heard of it, some of them at least. Right? The first pose where we are going to do is tree pose. Have you ever heard of tree pose? Any idea how to do the tree pose? Yes, I can see nice tree poses there. Okay, yes, yes, perfect. Okay, now let's learn it correctly. Okay, ready. So you're going to keep your both feet together, arms by side of your body. Now, the one thing is you have to concentrate on any part, any point. Okay, it can be big or small. To start with, let's concentrate on a big point, on a big thing in front of you, okay? In line with your eyes. So you're not going to concentrate on a point down over somewhere over there. No, straight in front of you. All right? Perfect. Now you have to keep on concentrating. Once you've got that thing, you're going to take your right leg. So now I'm going to mirror you. So I'm going to take my left leg, but I'm going to mirror you, okay? So you feel like you're taking your right leg. So right leg up and keep it on your left thigh. Yes. Make sure your eyes are still there on the point. Now, after this leg, okay, I can see someone is struggling. What you can do is, if you have something near to you, you can just hold on to it to get that idea. Look like this. Okay, if you have something nearby, you can hold on to that. All right? But remember to keep your eyes over there. You can hold on to that thing and keep your eyes over that point. Now, slowly, the hard part, you're going to leave that hand and slowly take your arms up, both arms up, and at the top, you're going to do namaste. Namaste at the top. Perfect. You're going to keep your eyes at the point. Do namaste. Tree pose. Perfect. Now, slowly, how do you release? Slowly release your arms first, then your legs. Well done. Down the tree pose. I know, bit swaying and all those things. That's all right. You'll get there. Shall we try on our left leg now? Well done. If yes, give me a thumbs up, right? So that I can know that you are hearing me, all right? Perfect. Now, what do you do first? Concentrate on a point, right? So keep concentrating on a point, any point in front of you. Yes. There. Now, take your left leg up. Keep your left foot on your right thigh. Slipping. Yes. Now, slowly breathe in. Take your both arms up. And namaste at the top. Perfect. You can see nice tree pose there. Now, slowly breathe out. Take your both arms down and your leg. Well done, guys. So you know how to do tree pose now, isn't it? Very good. Okay. Now shall we go for the next pose? Yes, the next pose is called warrior pose. Okay, warrior. You know what's warrior, right? The warrior. Warrior, like Superman, warrior. Okay, or Spider-Man, warriors. Okay, all right. Now for that, you're going to take your legs apart. Nicely. Okay, so I don't want too much apart and I don't want this. No, I want to be around this. Okay, so it feels like, okay, you are stretching your legs. It feels like, okay, there is something going on my thighs. You feel that thing, okay? Until that time. Until that, you're going to spread your legs. Let's do it on your right side, okay? So I'm mirroring you again on your right. So you're going to see the foot. You're going to turn your right foot towards your right side. Right foot towards your right side, okay? Turn it to right, point to right side. Now, breathe in. Take your both arms up to the shoulders. Now, breathe out. Bend your right knee. Look. And look to your right. Remember, you're not dropping towards your right side. No, you're going to stay in your center of the body. Okay, you're not going there. You're staying in the center. Remember, but your knee is bent. You're staying in the center. Balancing your weight in the center of the body. Perfect. Well done. And look towards your right side and feel like you are a warrior. Okay, you're strong. You're strong like a warrior. Feel that you're strong like a warrior. Well done. No movements. Don't need to do any movements. Just stay there. Perfect. All right. Now slowly breathe in. Straighten your knee. Breathe out. Both arms down. Breathe in. Turn your right foot in. Let's do it on the left side as well, isn't it? Breathe out. Turn your left foot to the left side. Yes. Very good. But in between, if you want to come up, you can do that. But now we are going to do the left side together. All right? Yes. So left foot to left side. Now breathe in. Both arms up. Breathe out. What do? You bend your left knee. See, left knee, and you sit down like this. Bend your left knee. No moving towards your left side. You're maintaining your body weight in the center. And look towards your left. And you feel like a strong warrior. Perfect. Keep your arms up. Arms up. Well done, guys. Now, how do you release? Breathe in, straighten your knee. Breathe out, arms down. Breathe in, turn your left foot in, and slowly walk inside. I won't recommend you to jump. Yes, if it was a small one, yes, you could jump. But since it was a big one, no. Right? Perfect. So that was tree pose and warrior pose. Okay? Well done. Shall we go for the next one then? Yes, for that, you're going to sit down. Lie down on your back. Okay? You're going to lie down on your back. Like this. From there, you're going to bend your both knees and place your both feet near to your hip, as much as closer to your hip. And place your both palms on the floor. Press on the floor, and with the help of your palms and the feet, you're going to breathe in and raise your head. Like this. So this is bridge pose. Your head is down. You're not going to take your head. Yes, that's it. Keep your arms straight down. Yes. And look straight up. Don't look at me. Look straight up. You're doing fine. You're doing well. Well done. And breathe out. Bring your hip down. Stretch your leg. So that was bridge pose. Shall we do it one more time? Yes. So bend your knee. Place your both palms down. Breathe in. Raise your hip up. Very good. Bridge pose. Now breathe out. Hip down. And stretch your legs. Arms by side. All right. Now shall we go for the next pose? For that, you're going to lie on your stomach. Right? Lie on your stomach. You're going to stretch your arms forward in front of you. Okay? Now forehead on the floor. Now, breathe in and you're going to lift your both arms, both legs and head up. Both pose. Perfect. Well done. And look straight. Remember, you are breathing in, breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Now, slowly breathe out, release your pose. Calm down slowly, okay? No harsh movements. No dropping down. Slowly release. All right. Shall we do it once more? Yes, let's do it once more, right? So, stretch your arms in the front. Head on the floor. Breathe in. Lift your arms, your both legs, and head up. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Now slowly breathe out, release. Bring your arms, legs, and head down. Well done, guys. Perfect. Now slowly come up. And you're going to sit in this pose. Bend your knees. Sit on this pose. This pose is called diamond pose. Right? Diamond pose. And there is a specialty for this pose. Now what's that? This is the only pose which we can do after having food. It's the only pose in yoga which we can have, which we can do after when you're full stomach, after having food. Right? Okay. Now the next pose we are going to do is called lion pose. Who wants to do lion pose? Wants to do how you feel like a lion? Yes or no? No. Someone said no. Oh, that's so bad. I want to do lion pose. Isn't it? It's fun. Shall we do it? Yes. Yes, I can see loads of thumbs up now. Thumbs up now. All right. Now, you're sitting in this pose. One thing is, you're going to, if you look from my back, you don't need to change. You don't need to change. No, I'm just showing you what to do with your legs. You cross your ankles. You cross your ankles and you sit on that cross. All right? So it's not standing straight, you cross your ankles. Cross it. And you sit on that cross. All right? And your palms, fingers, spread out. Keep them on your knees, both knees. You slant a bit forward. Not going back. Yes, there. Okay? Yes, like how you, like small Simba. Have you seen Simba sitting like this? Like that. All right? Now, you breathe in. When you breathe out, you should sound like a lion. I'll tell you how to do that. Okay? I'll show you from here, then I'll come forward so that I can see, you can see me what I'm doing. Okay? So you breathe in, breathe out, you stick your tongue out, and you roll like a lion. Like this. Okay? Now let me come forward and tell you. So you know how to sit on your leg now, isn't it? Cross your ankles, arms spread out on your knees. Now you breathe in, breathe out. What do? You stick your tongue out Eyes open and look to your nose. Once more. Yes, breathe in. Breathe out. Yes, should be a fierce line, okay? Yes, once more. Breathe in. Perfect. Well done, guys. Okay, lion's pose. Okay, lion pose. All right, very good. Now, shall we go for some breathing now? Yes? Yes, yes, let's go for some breathing. So, 1 second. Yeah, shall we go for some breathing? Yes, perfect. Let's go for some breathing. We are going to do a cooling pranayama, a cooling type of breathing, okay? Which is called Sheetkari. Sheetkari pranayama. Sheetkari, okay? Yes? But don't mind about the name now. The important part is how to do it. Let's see how to do it. How you do it. Sheetkari. You clench your teeth. Like this, okay? You open your mouth and you breathe in through that mouth. Close your mouth. Breathe out through your nose. Once more. Again, remember one more thing. You have to keep your back straight. Remember? Back straight. Okay, yeah, perfect. Now, once more. Clench your teeth. Breathe in. Close your mouth. Breathe out through your nose. Perfect. Shall we do it 3 more times? Yes. Clench your teeth. Breathe in. Close your mouth. Breathe out through your nose. Perfect. 2 more times. Clench your teeth. Breathe in. Close your mouth. Breathe out. 1 more time. Clench your teeth. Breathe in. Close your mouth. Breathe out. Well done, guys. Perfect. Now, shall we sit straight? Close your eyes now. Very good. Well done. Keep your eyes closed. Well done. Yes, perfect. No peeking. No movements, please. Yes, very good. And think of the poses we did right now. I can help you by naming them, but think how we did it, okay? By keeping your eyes closed. Okay, let's think of the poses what we did. The first one was tree pose. Remember how you did it. Very good. Now the next one was warrior pose. Think how to do it, how we did it, what was the struggle, anything like that. Now the next pose was bridge pose. Lying on your back, lifting your hip up, bridge pose. After that, we did boat pose, lying on your stomach. Remember to keep your eyes closed and think of the poses when I name them. Well done, guys. Boat pose. Now, after that, we did lion pose. Remember how you did that? Crossing the ankles and making the sound of the lion. And the last one we did was Sheetkari Pranayama. Clenching the teeth, breathing in through the teeth and breathing out through the nose. Perfect. Now you got what are the poses we did now, isn't it? Now eyes closed, no peeking. Now rub your palms together. Make them super duper warm again. And keep them on your eyes. Perfect. Now slowly take your palms away and slowly open your eyes. Well done, guys, and have a nice day. Well done. Thank you for joining me. You all did very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhaya. That was a very interactive, very fun session. I'm sure they really enjoyed it. Okay, everyone wave at the screen if you enjoyed it. Wave at the screen if you enjoyed it. Yeah. Oh, I think they love it. All right, so now we're going to move on to the adults yoga session. So if everyone that wants to participate in that wants to turn their cameras on, again, just give it a go. I'm sure it's beginner friendly, and I'm also sure that you'll enjoy it. Yeah, you never know if you'll like it, so you might as well try. So handing it back over to Dr. Abhaya Mohan.
Thank you. So all the kiddies can go now and let the parents join in, right? Okay. All right. Shall we start? I hope everyone are ready. Since I can't see your video, I hope everybody's ready. Oh, all right. Okay, so we did what the kids did again. So you sit in a comfortable pose, eyes closed, and observe your breathing, the normal breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhalation and exhalation. The normal breathing. Now, take a deep breath in and breathe out gently. Once again, take a deep breath in and breathe out. Once more, take a deep breath in and breathe out gently. Continue your normal breathing. And observe your body. Observe the way you're sitting, the way you have kept your arms, the way you have kept your legs, the way your back is. And remember to keep your back nice and straight and comfortable. Normal breathing. Let's begin by chanting Om for 3 times. Take a deep breath in and chant louder. Om. Breathe in. Om. Once more. Breathe in. Om. Continue your normal breathing and follow the vibrations of Om throughout your body. Follow them through your legs, through your arms, spine, stomach, chest, face, lower your head. Continue normal breathing. Gently rub your palms together, make them warm. Keep them on your eyes and relax your eyes. Slowly take your arms in and very slowly, looking at the floor, open your eyes. And come to standing pose. So we'll be doing 6 poses for improving our immunity and to help with our lungs. So before that, we'll do a quick loosening exercises to just loosen our own parts of the body. So let's keep our legs apart, arms comfortable. Let's start with our neck. So look down, try to touch your chin to the chest and look up. So repeat for 3 rounds. Up, 2 and 3. Look down and up. Now look to your right and left. Again, 2, right and left. 3, last one, right and left. Now turn sideways. Right, left. When you do this, feel that stretching on your neck. Right and left, right and left. Now combine all these together, go for rotation. Down, side, up, side, and look down. Rotation again, 2 and 3. Opposite way. 1, 2, and 3. Now let's move on to your shoulders. Place your palms on the shoulders. Let's go for rotation. Forward, 5 rounds. Make a big circle with your elbows. And backwards, 5 rounds. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now elbows open and close. 5 rounds again. So everything you'll be doing for 5 rounds. and raise, up and down, sideways, rotation, and the opposite way. Now, your fingers, open and close, give movements to each and every joint, small joints. Now let's go for full arm rotation. Forward, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's go for forward bending. Legs bit apart. Breathe in, stretch, breathe out. As you bend forward, tap 5 times on the floor. And breathe in. Stretch up, breathe out. Bend forward, tap 5 times. Breathe in. Again, stretch. Breathe out. Tap 5 times. Once more, breathe in, stretch. Breathe out. Tap 5 times. Breathe in, stretch, and release. All right, let's do some movements to your knees. Place your palms on your knees. Bend slightly and give a rotation to the clockwise. Give a rotation, you can feel that movement on your knees. Clockwise, 5 rounds, and anti-clockwise, 5 rounds. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well done. Let's move on to the hip. I'm going to mirror you. So I'm going to take my left leg, but you have to do your right leg. Let's do it on your right. Lift your leg up, try to touch on your palms. 3, 4, and 5. The same leg, you're going to go backwards. 1, but make sure you're not doing this. Not that, just your leg. Just lifting your leg. 5 rounds. The same leg, sideways. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's move on to the left leg. Forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well done. Let's move on to the knee, right knee. So forward and backwards. Feel it from the sides, forward and backwards. Like this. Forward and back. And knee sideways. And rotation. Clockwise and clockwise. Left leg up, forward and back. Sideways. If you can balance, you can hold on to anything. That's all right. Rotation. You can hold on to something if you can't balance. Clockwise and anti-clockwise. Now let's move on to the ankles. So up and down. Make sure you feel that stretching on your calf muscles when you go up and down. And down. Sideways. Rotation clockwise and anti-clockwise. Both sides. Left leg up. Up and down ankles. Sideways. Rotation. Clockwise, anti-clockwise. rotation of your ankles. Now let's move on to the toes. For that, you need to go for stretching. So legs together, arms by the center. Breathe in. Try to stand on your toes, stretch up. Breathe out. Release. Again, breathe in. Stretch. Breathe out. Release. Once more. Breathe in. Nice stretch. Breathe out. Release. Very good. And that was the end of the loosening exercises. Let's move on to the poses, asanas. So first pose is what we are going to do is triangle pose. So if you have difficulty in lying down, keeping your arms, you can have a block like this or a stud. If you don't have anything, I'll tell you what to do. Okay, now legs together from sthiti. You're going to spread your legs apart, enough apart so that you feel that tension in your thighs. It should not be too much, it should not be too low. Enough to feel that tension on your thighs. Now, let's do it on your right side. So breathe in, turn your right foot right side, which is very important. Right foot pointing to right side. Breathe in, both arms up to the shoulder. Stretch towards your right. No, stretch towards your right, not bending yet. Stretch towards your right. Breathe out. Bend towards your right. Make sure you're bending from your hip and bending sideways. Not like this. No forward bending. Pushing your buttocks back. No. The head should be in the neutral and bending sideways. So if you can hold on to here, just stay there. You don't need to worry about whether you're going to touch the floor or not. No. Just stay here. And if at all possible, you can look up or you can look straight, whichever is comfortable. Stay. Remember to breathe in and breathe out. That is very important. Never hold your breath. Slowly breathe in. Straighten your body. Breathe out. Arms down. Breathe in. Turn your right foot in. Slowly walking. Slowly. Now, let's do it on your left side. So legs apart again. Turn your left foot to left side. Breathe in, both arms up. Stretch towards your left and breathe out. Bend down. So when you stretch, you automatically are lengthening your spine. When you stretch, when you do that stretch, you automatically lengthen your spine. Then it will be more easy to go maximum stretch. Make sure you're pushing your chest forward. You can look up, good. Otherwise, you can look straight. Breathe in, breathe out. Perfect. Now, it releases the tensions in the shoulders and stretches the fascia of the lungs, and just by helping with the breathing. So breathe in, straighten up. Breathe out. Arms down. Breathe in. Foot inside. Breathe out. Okay. So that was triangle pose. Now let's do the forward bend, but a wide leg forward bend. Legs apart, a bit apart, around 3 to 4 feet apart. For the triangle pose, it was 5 to 6 feet, so it was not, you don't need that much, 4 to 5 feet apart. Sorry, 3 to 4 feet apart. All right, and the legs, tips, toes are pointing straight. Now breathe in, stretch. It's important to do that stretch so that you are stretching your spine, you're elongating your spine. Breathe out, just like that. Keeping that stretch, you're going to bend forward and try to touch the floor or keep your palms on the floor. If you have anything like this, block or something, you can just hold on to that thing. It's your choice. Breathe out, bend forward. And look down or look back through your legs. Try to keep your both knees straight. And breathe normally. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhalation and exhalation. Normal thing, you don't hold your breath at all. Now in this pose, you're going to breathe in and take your right hand up and point to the ceiling. So giving that twist. You can feel that twist on your waist and you can feel that stretch on your chest. Breathe out. Slowly bring your right arm back down the floor. Let's do it on the left. Breathe in. Lift your left arm up and point to the ceiling. Breathe in. Breathe out, which is very important. Normal breathing. Please try not to hold on to your breathing. Breathe out. Release your arms, left arm down. From here, breathe in. Take your both arms up. Important to stretch up. Do a nice stretch and breathe out. Arms down. So that was forward bend, but keeping your legs apart. All right. Now let's move on to the next pose, which is called lunge pose or Anjaneyasana. Right? So for that, you need to come to one end of your mat. So because you're going to take your leg back. So you need space in that. One end of your mat. Breathe in, stretch back, breathe out. Forward bend. Take your right leg back as much as possible. Give a nice right leg back and right knee down. Place your foot straight, so not on the toes. It is straight down. Now from here, you're going to breathe in. Inhale, take your both arms up. You're going to sink more, stretch more forward, and stretch back. By doing this, you're opening up your chest and giving a nice stretch to your back. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhalation and exhalation. Breathe out. Slowly release. Bring your arms down near to your leg or foot. Now slowly bring your right leg in. Forward bend. Let's do on your left side. Take your left leg back. Left knee down. And straighten your foot. From here, you're going to breathe in. Take your both arms up. Sit more forward. And stretch back. So here you can feel that stretching on your back, your thighs, your stomach. Stretching on the sides of your chest. Breathe in, breathe out. Slowly. Exhale and release. Your arms down. Take your leg back, come to plank. Slowly lie down on the floor on your stomach. Let's move on to the next pose. It's called locust pose or Shalabhasana. Two ways to do it. By making a fist of your hands, the thumb inside, make a fist of your both hands. Keep that hands inside your thighs. Chin on the floor. Breathe in. If you have any bangles or watch, be careful not to crush them. Breathe in. Slowly lift your both legs up. Like keeping your chin on the floor. and should not bend your knees. Breathe out. Bring your legs down. Let's do the other variation of locust pose. Bring your arms down, arms out, by side of your body, forehead on the floor. As you breathe in, you lift your arms, legs, and chest up. Chest and head up. Basically, you're maintaining on your stomach. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe out. Slowly release down. And relax. Slowly come up and sit in diamond pose, Vajrasana, on your knees, on your heels. On your heels, diamond pose. You're going to do camel pose. So you stand on your knees, bit apart. Your knees, if you keep a namaste in between your knees, it should go in easily, that much apart. So it should be that, not too much, and just bit, like this. I'll show you the legs. Don't keep your toes in, you keep it flattened. Now let's do the camel pose. Two of them, half camel and full camel. Full camel, if you're not comfortable, please don't try to do it because it can be big, tricky, and I won't recommend it, doing it if you don't know it. So let's go for the half camel by placing your both palms on your waist. The thumb is supporting your spine. So remember that the thumb is supporting your spine. It's over here, in the center. The other four fingers are holding onto your waist. Roll your shoulders back. Bring your elbows as much as back so that you feel that push on your chest. Now breathe in. Breathe out. You bend back. You don't sit back. You bend back. And push your tummy forward. Look down. Look back. Normal breathing. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in. Slowly come up. You can feel that pull on your waist. And release your arms. So those who are comfortable, you can go for the full camel. I can just show you how it is. But if you're not comfortable, please don't try this. Breathe in, take your both thumbs up, and you bend back. Place your palms on your heels. And push your stomach forward. Stay there. Breathe in, breathe out. Slowly breathe in. Stretch. This is very important to give that stretch so as to release that tension from your upper back and release your arms down. Then you can sit on your normal pose. We are going for the breathing. So for that, let me come forward. Yes. So we'll be going for, I know you're tired. Yes, don't worry. We'll be going for two breathing techniques today. One is right nostril breathing and one is diaphragmatic breathing. So let's go to the right nostril breathing first. For that, on your left hand, I'm mirroring you, sorry. On your left hand, Chin Mudra, and on your right hand, Nasika Mudra. Pointing index and middle finger. Turn it around you. Right nostril. So you'll be closing your left nostril with your little fingers. And you'll be breathing only through your right nostril. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhalation and exhalation. Only through the right. All right. Let's do it. And when you breathe in, when you do the inhalation, count in your mind up to 5. And when you do your exhalation, count up to 10 in your mind. Okay, so the breathing ratio is 1:2. That's why it's more easy to do it when you count. So breathe in through your right. Nice deep breath. Breathe out through your right. Count up to 10. So your breathing out should be very slow, very controlled, so that you can finish until up to 10. Again, breathe in through your right. Feel your chest expand. Breathe out through your right. Make sure your back is straight and comfortable. Again, breathe in through your right. Breathe out through your right. One more time. Breathe in through your right. Breathe out through your right. Slowly release. You can do this breathing, right nostril breathing, around 1 to 2 minutes. It increases your energy. It's a heating pranayama. Okay, but if you're having any BP problems, I won't recommend to do 1 to 2 minutes, at least 10 rounds. That is more than enough, right? Because it increases, it energizes you, it increases the blood flow and all those things. All right, so let's go for the next breathing, which is called diaphragmatic breathing. It's a bit more easier, but a bit trickier though. So let's keep your right hand on your chest and your left hand on your abdomen, on your stomach. Normal breathing, but you're going to concentrate more onto your stomach rather than your chest. So the normal breathing, try to close your eyes and see the movements of the stomach. So when you breathe in, for example, when you breathe in, the stomach moves out more. Don't worry about the chest. You may feel some movements at the end, but you're not concentrating on your chest. You're moving, you're concentrating on your stomach. Breathe out and feel that stomach goes in. Again, breathe in. Stomach out. Breathe out. Stomach in. Once more, breathe in. Stomach comes out. Breathe out. Stomach goes in. Once again, breathe in. Stomach out. Breathe out. Stomach goes in. It's called diaphragmatic breathing. This gives the movement to the diaphragm, which is very good for the movements of the chest as well. Okay, now shall we go for relaxation? You can lie down in any comfortable pose. You can lie down in any comfortable pose, Shavasana. So we'll just go for a quick relaxation technique. So let me get a music. A quick relaxation technique. I want to take more time. Yeah. So lie down on your back. So eyes closed, legs apart. palms facing the roof. Concentrate on your breathing. You can lie on your back in Shavasana. Legs apart, palms facing the roof. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and breathe out gently. Once again, breathe in and breathe out gently. Continue your natural breathing and be aware of the sounds around you. Slowly feel that all the sounds are becoming distant and you can only hear the sounds of your breath and heartbeat. Let's concentrate on your breathing. As you breathe in, feel the chest and the stomach expands. And as you breathe out, you can feel the chest retracts and the stomach goes in. Concentrate on this movement. Relax. As you breathe in, the chest expands. As you breathe out, the chest retracts. Concentrate on this movement of the chest and stomach for the next 1 minute. If you get distracted by a thought or a sound, simply accept it and refocus onto your breath. Feel the changes in your body and mind just by concentrating on your breath, just by concentrating on your movements of the chest and the stomach. Be proud of yourself. Appreciate yourself for what you have done today. Slowly bring your legs together, arms by side of your body. Slowly take your right arm up. Roll on to your right side. Slowly come up and sit in any comfortable pose. Try to keep your eyes closed. Rub your palms together, make them warm. Keep them on your eyes. Relax your eyes. Feel the warmness of your arms. Relax your eyes and slowly take your palms off, and very slowly, looking at the floor, open your eyes. And have a nice day. I hope you all enjoyed the session. I can't see you, so I hope you did good. And thank you for arranging me, and thank you for inviting me to this International Yoga Day celebrations. Over to you, Tishandria.
Thank you so much, Abhaya ji. It was once again, a very, very good interactive session. It was very, very enjoyable. I'm sure everyone had so much fun and learned a lot. So thank you so much for that. Dr. Abhaya actually has a YouTube channel as well. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit so people can watch more yoga videos if they wanted to?
Yeah, actually I have a yoga channel called Yoga with Abhaya. So I'm posting videos. It was dormant for some time because of my kids' exam and all those things, but I have restarted now. So it's Yoga with Abhaya. So if you can search, you'll get it. So I've been posting, I'll be posting lots of yoga asanas, the yoga for anxiety, yoga for back pain. So it's all coming up. I haven't posted it yet, but yes, it's all coming up. So if you can have a look, yes, of course, you're free to do that.
Yes, so be sure to check that out. And also at York Foundation, we also run yoga, so live yoga sessions on Saturdays. Saturday mornings with Pushpa ji. And you can join those. So Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. time. And there's also a few videos on for free on our YouTube channel, which you can go check out. They focus on different things related to yoga. So if you'd like to have a look at those before you join the interactive sessions, then feel free to do that. And now we're going to hand it over to Chet, who's going to introduce the other two guest speakers that we have for the rest of the seminar. Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Swaminarayan, Hari Om, and good morning. Thank you so much to Disha and Ria for amazing hosting, and thank you to Abhaya ji again for leading our yoga session. I thought it was brilliant. I think the kids had a brilliant time. I'm sure the adults, some of them are probably still sleeping. I often find that when I do yoga that I get so relaxed that I fall asleep. So thank you so much, and we hope we can see you again in future sessions as well. Namaste. Right, so we're only halfway through the event today. We've got two brilliant speakers to come who are going to be discussing optimal nutrition for an Indian diet and the effects of the pandemic on mental health. But before I do go to our first esteemed speaker, Dr. Santosh Khokhar, I've got a couple of announcements for everyone. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This event has been organized by York Foundation. We are a UK registered charity based in the Kent area. that brings the community together to do good. We help promote Vedic values, culture, and faith, especially amongst the younger generation. We try to do it in a way which is very modern and accessible and open to all. We have a number of activities and classes that we offer to the community. All of those are open to all and completely free, all in the spirit of Seva. I'm just going to speak very briefly about some of those classes we have. The yoga, as Disha and Ria mentioned, we do yoga classes. If you really enjoyed today's session, you can join these weekly classes we have on a Saturday morning with Pushpaji, who is a very experienced yoga practitioner. We also have Sadvidya classes. So every weekend we have classes for children focusing on, we have Hindi classes, Gujarati classes, so language classes here. And we also have moral values classes and Hinduism classes, as well as mindfulness and meditation there, as you can see. And for adults, we have a Bhagavad Gita class as well. So lots of classes there. We believe that in order to maintain our culture, our traditions and our faith, it's essential for us to pass those on to the next generation. And children who attend these classes not only learn more about their faith and their culture, but they also develop their public speaking skills, increase their confidence, and make some wonderful new friends. So all of these classes are free. I would really recommend you check them out on our website, yog.foundation, and you can register for those anytime. Next, two important dates to put into your diary. So the first is our next event will be Rath Yatra, which is a wonderful celebration that we do every year. So Rath Yatra will be on Saturday, the 10th of July. It's a really fun, vibrant festival. And we're looking at the possibility of, is it going to be online or is it something we can do completely outdoors? So watch this space. That will be really, really exciting. The second thing is a summer trip. Yog Foundation try to do a summer trip every year. This year, we're trying to do something on Saturday, the 14th of August. It's been over a year and a half since we saw each other in person and since we've done our last, in-person event. So this summer trip will be a wonderful opportunity for us all to get together outdoors. It's a day, a family friendly, fun, packed day. For those who are adventurous, we have things such as high ropes, abseiling, zip wire, rock climbing, and loads of fun outdoor activities. For those that prefer something more relaxing, we have country walks, orienteering, and a reservoir walk. We're also going to do a family kind of fun day as well, outdoors, hoping the weather is good, obviously. And finally, like always, we are going to visit a local mandir for some bhajans and prasad. So please do save this date in your diary. We'll be sending out some more communication around this very, very soon. But get it in your diary. Make sure you've got nothing else on that day and join us for this summer trip. Right, so we're now going to move on to our first session, first talk this afternoon. And it's on optimal nutrition for an Indian diet. Now, we all know that nutrition and diet is really important for health. After all, you are what you eat. However, the advice we often get from our GPs isn't adapted to our Indian diet, where roti and sabji and chawal are the norm. So what does an optimal Indian diet look like? Which foods help us feel better? Which foods are most nutritional and help us maintain a healthy and balanced diet? These are some of the questions we hope to answer. We are delighted to have Dr. Santosh Khokhar join us today for this session. Dr. Khokhar is a UK registered nutritionist with more than 25 years experience in teaching and research in food science and nutrition in research centers around the world. Her interests include understanding the complex association between food, nutrition, and health, and reducing the risk of diseases and improving overall quality of life. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Khokhar. I believe you actually contacted the York Foundation in order to volunteer your time and expertise after attending one of our events. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
And which event did you attend?
It was a Diwali celebration, and my sister and her daughters, they asked Masi to come with them. So I really enjoyed. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you've seen, that's one of our biggest events of the year. So I'm glad you enjoyed it and you came along and you volunteered your time. So I'm going to hand it over to you for this session. If anyone has any questions during the talk, please feel free to add those to the chat. And if we have time at the end, we'll try to answer some of those questions. So over to you, Dr. Khokhar.
Okay. And thank you very much for Yog Foundation to invite me for this specific celebration, specific day, which is very important, mental health, as we know. This has become more serious than cancer and cardiovascular disease actually at the moment. And thank you to Ramesh, thank you Chetan, all of you. And now I will talk, and so that I can give everybody, sufficient time to discuss, because there can be, the most important aspect is discussions. Where is it gone now? I'm gonna try to share my screen. Mostly it's okay. Sorry, I think it's closed.
Would you like us to share, or have you got it there?
Yeah, it's just coming up. I think the file got closed.
Okay.
Somehow. Okay. Okay, so I'll do this slide.
We can see your screen now.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for a very impressive introduction you've already done. And here on this one is the talk of the topic, as I already mentioned. It's about discussing the Indian diet and nutrition in relation to healthy eating, healthy being, healthy and well-being, and also for mental health, or, what our brain needs. So first of all, I would like to look at where we are on this. So this, I have put here together the healthy eating guide for India, for Indians, Indians in India, and the UK one. So you can see, I think you would agree with me that we are somewhere in middle. Majority of them, maybe more on the left side, because you can see the left side, the Indian plate looks more vegetarian, and you can also spot really some significant differences, which are very, very important. For example, you see more raw material on the left side. Okay, that means our cooking, Indian cooking, is mostly from scratch, is from the raw material. Whereas when you look, I think it's not letting me look. The UK diet, the UK plate, and some of you might be surprised if you have seen the previous plate, because this is the most recent one. It has been changed after 20 years, so there are a lot of changes in that. And so the other difference you see compared to the raw material you see here, and the variety of fruit and vegetable. So luckily, because it's a tropical country, and the people who migrated before us really worked hard to bring all that food all the way to the UK, and we now can enjoy not only the foods which are available in the UK and Europe, but also the Indian food and food from various other countries. So we have raw, which is good news. We cook a lot. we cook from scratch, but there are, there are some things about nutrition we can learn about cooking. What is the better way of cooking? For example, I'll mention quickly a little bit. And here you can see a majority, you can see 3/4 at least of the part of this plate is processed. So it's manufactured food or it's packaged food, even like, they put probably lentils here, they are just packaged. But many of them are also already cooked. So not all the processing is bad. The processing actually was meant to create more variety of food. For example, potato, there are about 50 products from potato. So that was so that there is a variety of food so people can choose what is the best. But sometimes we think maybe it has gone too far. For instance, there are, very like potato starch. We don't really need to eat starch itself, but these are often now used in, they are discouraged by nutritionists, but they are used in making gravy or thickening agent. So if you look at again what Chetan just emphasized about the guidelines for Indian people, you can see there are only a few things perhaps on the plate, like the lentils are there, chickpeas, and these are very mainstream now. So it's not just the Indian people eat it; they are very mainstream. I was just recently involved in planning a project where there is growing agriculture of lentils and chickpeas being tried in the UK to enhance the local availability to make it locally available for the population too. Okay, then you can see that's the emphasis here on separately for nuts. You can see seeds again and various kinds of oils, which is very interesting. And you could see in our in this plate there is there are oils and there are also for healthy oil required for eating. So you can see, I think we do mix some of the foods from the UK plate, and you can then have a knowledge of this. So why is not going further? Okay. Now, when you talk to any health professional or nutritionist of any background in the UK especially, you will hear, oh, Indian people have a very high risk of disease, isn't it? And that is true. So South Asians, which are from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, they have higher risk compared to the white Europeans. And Afro-Caribbeans also have high risk of blood pressure, for example, and some of these disease. So, but how do we explain these? Some people say, oh, because we are miserable all the time, we miss home. And that is a part. There comes the mental health. Because when you're mentally not happy, your lifestyle changes, your eating patterns change. And I read a book many years ago. A lady produced this book that when Indian people migrated, the 80% of the women, they were in the house all the time and they were depressed and they lived in the terrace houses, so that was quite a big study, and that was alarming actually for me, because I came to England quite late. That means I was 28. I came for a conference. I already studied, and I was a faculty position there. I was in a faculty position. Sorry. So let's cut the story short. I want to say here that what is known through research, why the risk is high, is genetic. So if somebody, parents or grandparents had, the diabetes or cardiovascular disease, they are very much high risk, and they are most likely to get the disease at some stage in their lifetime. Similarly, family history. The poor diet has also been, reported. A lot of chat has been about ghee. I don't think I will have a lot of time about ghee to talk about it, but it has been one of the culprit, which I think as an Indian, you wouldn't think, straight away that ghee is a, bad thing. And so there are both sides of it. Then inadequate physical activity. I think people have, adopted to a working style, really working hard, long hours. Many people of Indian background, they do shift work, even in medicine, and the other in labor or other jobs. There is long hours people are working. Most, many women, they are staying home. Even if they are not staying home, they are working. I think among the ethnic minority, probably Indian people work, the number of Indian people work is probably the highest one. So equally for women, they work outside. But still, the physical activity has not been found to be adequate. So it's lower. Now, what can we do? So we can't do very much about our genes and family history. So you may not be able to avoid it completely, having the disease, but you can delay the onset of this disease if your lifestyle is healthy. So you have a healthy diet, and you also have, physical activity. So basically, those two main things are, the two main important points of the lifestyle. So this can be, postpone, for example, the family. And then if you are eating healthy, you have healthy lifestyle, that means, getting this disease due to environmental effect, poor diet and lack of physical activity, mental health will also reduce, so we can do, so healthy diet can do all good things for us. Now, this is a guidance for, I'm starting about the why the risk of cardiovascular disease or heart disease and obesity is high in Asians. So this is a leaflet some of you might have seen, is produced for Indian population, I think mainly. Now, what is really important is, what is the government wanting people to understand? First thing is the fat. When you are overweight, what kind of fat you mostly have. Research shows that Asian people, Indian people, not Asian people, but South Asian people, they normally have the visceral fat, which is high. So if you look in this picture, the gray color is a person, that's the hand, and that's the abdomen area. Okay, so if you pinch your tummy, you're pinching you're picking up your skin, and beyond that, so below that is the fat. So most often you can catch it, in your hand. You can have, like, if you have plenty of it, you can see the tire, kind of thing. That fat is not actually dangerous for the heart disease and for insulin resistance, but it's the fat which is, if you look at this pink line, so if you think it's like a balloon, but it's also called an abdominal cavity, like the proper way of calling is the abdomen is this area. In this area, we've got all our organs like liver, stomach, pancreas, bile duct, intestines, everything is there. And they're not held by skeleton directly. So they're not bones in between holding them. They're supported. We are supported by our skeleton, but our most vital organs, they also mainly supported by collagen, by fat, by other material. So this yellow one here, which is supporting, which is around the organs, is a problem when we have excess of this. So excess means when we have excess fat here, the visceral fat, this inside yellow one, it puts not only the gravitational or physical forces or pressure on but it messes with the activity of all the organs. These organs are very important, or not important, they are essential, because these are the ones which metabolize our food, so digest our food, absorb our food, and then it passes into our blood. So any problem with these, and is a big health problem. and this fat is a problem in. So the government now asking people to measure their abdominal fat. So if you put the measure, the tape just above your navel, and don't squeeze it, to look very thin and beautiful. So it should be like loosely, it should not be tight. And if it's more than 80 centimeter for women, it is a high risk, and more than 90 centimeter in men will be high risk for both, cardiovascular disease and for obesity and diabetes. Those three are also called metabolic disorders. Metabolic disorders because, as I mentioned to you, the organs which, this fat affects these organs which are involved in metabolism. So the next slide is, okay. And here again, I want to show you how much information do we have about for Indian, especially Indian diet, and in terms of or others. So these are the guidelines. So here it says butter replaced with oil, but actually it is named, I think, ghee replaced to the oil there. Somehow, I think in my slide it has cut off. So the government's guideline says replace ghee with oil. Okay, this is correct to a great extent, because if we depend on ghee, then we are eating most of the saturated fat, which we do not require in that amount. We do require saturated fat as well as unsaturated fat, which is more in oil. So nutritionists don't like to say good food, or good fat or bad fat, because it's never the clear cut, because it's the balance. So saturated fat from ghee, if we take it, in very small amounts, is actually better than other saturated fat. Okay, because of some differences in the fatty acids. So the amount of certain fatty acids which are good, they are high in saturated fat compared to the other saturated. So please do not get confused that I'm recommending eating saturated fat, or I'm recommending eating, ghee to meet your fat requirements. What I'm saying is you can have some 1 spoon in a day, could be a good, recommendations. Then some people ask me, then how come, people in India had a lot of ghee, a lot of, chapatis and all that, and they still were, but it is the past in India as well, that they were healthy with all this because of the physical activity, mainly because of the physical activity and the food availability, which was also low. Sugar, oil has always been expensive, so they were not, used so much. Well, like, ghee obviously was used, but it was the people were able to metabolize, properly, and there was not enough food to eat, so the energy from ghee was used. Now it says paneer, and so replace paneer to tofu. I'm not sure how many of you will agree to replacing, but I think we should take this advice as not replace, but replace partly with tofu. So we should eat both paneer and tofu. I think there is one thing other, problem with understanding of paneer in the literature, or in the, you call it in Britain or in other countries. When we make paneer, the way the water comes out, there's a lot of yellow material you've seen, not only the beta carotene and in a like a form of vitamin A comes out, which is yellow, but fat also comes out in that way. So actually in paneer, the solid part, the fat is lower than the milk. However, lots of minerals and good vitamins are lost. So you can use the way that water in cooking, for example, vegetables. So that will provide also oil, that will also provide, give you vitamins. You can also store away for a few days, in a tight bottle in the fridge. You can also freeze it. So paneer is not as such, bad. In tofu, although tofu is lower fat than paneer, I think, but it is not the wholesome food. Tofu is not wholesome food. When the milk is produced, soya milk, then tofu is produced. So there are lot of elements, a lot of nutrients are not present, but mostly they are substituted. So mainstream, for example, paneer, I don't think the labeling of our foods is a really good. It's still a problem. Most of the foods are not labeled properly, and not, what addition is required, enrichment, fortification sometimes is not done properly or not done at all. So now I have to, I think, go quickly through these things. So paratha or puri, take more chapati and pita bread, and I think where possible, whole meal. Then sugary snacks, halwa and mithai, which is really difficult. Actually, I like halwa and mithai as well. You try to replace with fresh fruit and unsalted nuts. So these, sugary snacks, halwa and mithai, some of your parents are from India. These are celebration. These used to be eaten only on celebration days, not like now, because of the high availability. They are, available everywhere, every corner of your street. You will have a shop with these things, especially the toffees and chocolates. And they are cheaper as well to buy. So these two things also contribute towards our poor diet, because they are cheaper and unhealthier. Then for salts, I think for reducing the salt, for recommendations as 6 grams per day, the advice is to increase, to replace it with more herbs and spices, ginger, chili, etc. Now about the physical activity, some small ones they have given, considering this is like, to me, it's like ancient really, because many of the South Asian and especially Indian people who are listening today, they will know they do more exercise than that. And this is like maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, if this advice was like, okay, all housewives, all people doing little jobs. But nevertheless, these activities are still very useful. So taking the stairs instead of the lift in your work time, gardening is a great exercise. If you like it, housework is, again, if you like it, walking, obviously, walking is supposed to be one of the best exercise, and then group dancing, cycling, etc. So these are all the government advice in order to tackle with metabolic syndrome, obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Okay, another difference between optimal, nutrition or the nutrient requirements for Indian people here or South Asians compared to Europeans and UK people is the role of the sunshine. So vitamin called D, vitamin D, you must have heard, the best form of vitamin D, the best chemical form or best form of vitamin D for the body is produced from exposure from the sunshine. Okay, we have vitamin D present in foods, but not only is in small amounts, very small amounts, but its availability is not sufficient to meet the requirements in our body. Okay, and the differences are pigmented skin. For example, brown skin or darker or black skin requires longer exposure compared to the white skin to get the same amount of vitamin D. So if it's like 5 microgram, then a pigmented skin person, like a typical Indian person, would require at least 45 minutes compared to 15 minutes, to the white or Caucasian person. So this low vitamin D, Vitamin D has been, has been in the UK in South Asian children many years. Then it was better because of the fortification of butter and oil, especially, and breakfast cereals. So we get quite a lot from the these fortified foods. But vitamin D causes another problem is it doesn't help calcium absorption. So that has an effect on our bone health. Okay, so because vitamin D is required for a good, for increased absorption of calcium, calcium is required for our bone health and some other functions as well. So it's important. It's important to know that SPS factors we use in cream, sun cream and all that, the higher the factor, so it starts from blocking from factor of 6, reduces vitamin D absorption. So imagine the factor of 30 and 50, and then you don't get any, almost nothing, no vitamin D at those factors of 50. Okay, so here I mentioned some of the food sources. Milk and butter, the vitamin A and vitamin D is added, and some vegetables and fruits also contain it, but as I mentioned, in small amounts, and it's a different form which cannot be highly utilized. Now, so how we can optimize our diet? What are the main problems we might have, from vegetarian diet? So protein related problem. So we may have, I'm sure we have enough of the quantity because people eat legumes, people eat wheat and other cereals. I'm not talking about the breakfast cereals, but I'm talking about the cereals and millets like sorghum, bajra, oats, all those things. So the various kinds of cereals people eat. Those two, and then milk, these three are the main sources of protein in a typical Indian vegetarian diet. So if you are not eating enough, there can be a problem with the protein, which is because of the low quality of protein. So naturally, plant proteins have low quality compared to, the meats and, eggs, etc. And I'm not promoting them at all. And you can now the mainstream message is to eat more plant foods, eat more grains. So I'm not promoting any of those, but comparatively. So because, these plant foods contain a lot of other good things as well. See, the lentils and dal, they contain a lot of other good things, like the fiber is very interesting in those. Minerals are also interesting. Antioxidants are present. Actually, antioxidants are those which lower the quality of the protein. But if these are cooked very well and you eat sufficient amount, then you have no problem. So eat more of the dal. If you like tofu, you can eat tofu, you can eat paneer, you drink milk, you can eat yogurt, all those things. So no problem. But I'm talking about a very poor diet, which doesn't have enough of, the good food or variety of food. Okay. So iron has low absorption in everybody, whether, you are in Indian or you are European. So it's absorbed only 5 to 10%, 5% maximum in vegetarian food. So it's very low absorption naturally. However, there are, other things we can do to improve the absorption. For example, we can eat lemon to the dish. We can add oranges in the salad if you are, depending, because green salad also has iron. So if you are having also citrus fruits with it, or citrus, lemon, etc., this will increase. Sprouting also increases the iron availability, because in sprouts there is increase in vitamin C, so the iron increases. So I will talk about it later, some of the cooking preparation methods. Now, vitamin D, try to get as much as sun exposure as possible, and you eat vegetables which are orange and yellow and some of the green, but most orange and yellow. Fat, if your diet contains much more high saturated fat, you must increase the fiber content. So fiber comes from vegetables, comes from lentils, comes from wholemeal, and you should reduce your total food intake and reduce frying the food. Carbohydrates should be also from good sources. So, for example, wholemeal, where as possible, avoid maida type of flour. Even if your recipe requires 100% maida, nowadays, I'm sure many of you know that the replacement of maida with wholemeal flour is possible. So, and fortunately, we also the Indian diet contains a number of cereals, number of grains, and that is sorghum, bajra, oats, ragi. All those are, you can substitute, you can mix them together. If you're eating, if your sugar intake is very high, you must reduce the sugar intake. And I want to clarify certain things here, that sugar from fruits is also the same sugar. So people think, okay, I'm eating fruit, but you must also observe that you're not eating the sweetest fruit, more than the other fruits. So you should have a variety of fruit and not loading yourself with that sugar. Jaggery is an unrefined sugar, so it has got some other solids as well if you look at the composition, and it's all good, but it is also a sugar. So, we must be very aware of, the sugar is sugar in anything you are having. So in case of fiber, if you eat variety of foods, variety of vegetarian food, you should have enough of the fiber. Okay, so the Indian diet is good in fiber, and we should make use of the fiber. So we should eat plenty of it. Now, the next one is, okay, something quickly about the food preparation and cooking. During food preparation and cooking time, we can lose some nutrients. So we should reduce storage time when the food is transported from A to B to C and then to supermarket, then in our fridge, and then we are storing in fridge, the nutrient losses are there. The level of nutrients reduced. Avoid reheating food. So you are also reducing the nutrients by reheating again and again. Try to cut the vegetables into bigger pieces, not too lean, not too small pieces, because bigger the size of the cut vegetables, retention of the nutrients will be high. So low will be the lower losses. Do not throw the outer leaves of green vegetables. This is like a very traditional thing I think in Indian food preparation, is people normally take off, quickly all the outside leaves. And you will see like lettuce and cabbages, outside leaves are the greenest one. And why they are green? Because in the sunlight and the chlorophyll, amounts and other pigments are much or higher in those antioxidants, vitamin C, other things. So try to clean. If it's like the outer leaf is obviously has been damaged, you take it off, but don't intentionally try to just take them off because of a habit. Yeah, nutrient bioavailability is something which, like from eating to what reaches in our blood, is that process. So cooking, for example, cooking some things, the cooking of dal, cooking of chapati, everything requires cooking, especially the starchy food. But there are some other things. For example, carrot. Cooked carrot is better than the raw carrot, but you can all still eat, raw carrot. But, this is an example of, because the vitamin A, beta carotenoid is more available in cooked carrot. Fermentation, the idli, dosa, and all that kind of fermentation, in that one, the bioavailability of nutrients is higher. Germination is sprouting, like you do mung dal and other. So you don't have to do just mung dal. You can sprout everything, chickpea, rajma, red kidney beans, and all other lentils. You can do a mix of them. You can do separate. because they will more or less they will separate, sprout at the same time. So you'll find it amazing that even the bigger seed, the smaller seed, they're just growing in the pot. Again, if you eat a variety of food, that will also improve the bioavailability of food, because there are some factors which help to help with absorption, help with the digestion, and there are others, which you can counteract. So now I go into specifically about the mental health. As earlier I mentioned that mental illness at the moment is exceeding the burden of cardiovascular and cancer disease. So the burden of this disease, mental illness, is higher than these two. And I think we have a talk later on, and there has been a significant increase due to the COVID pandemic in as far as the mental health goes. And mental illness is many kinds, not just the depression, but it's also substance abuse. I don't know, I forgot now. I think you'll find it later in the lecture. I think that's better in the presentation than me. Okay, nutritional required, just something to do with how to feed your brain better. If your brain is healthy, your mind is healthy, your body is healthy, you can think better, you can enjoy better. And that's why, having looking after the nutrition for the brain is also important. Firstly, do you know the brain weighs only 2% our total body weight? So let's say about 1200 or 1.5 kilogram or a little bit less weight, the brain we have. And we consume 20% of our, but it requires very high levels of energy, which is 20% of the total energy required by our body. So if it's like out of 100, 20% is by this little brain of ours. So it requires, and there is a specific need what kind of energy our brain requires. It only requires from glucose. So not the glucose from the bottles, not the glucose from the syringe, but the glucose which is produced in the body from carbohydrates, from sugar, from the sugar present in fruits, in vegetables. So it's from our food. So the glucose from our food, which is produced in our body, is required. So glucose, as you might know, is also stored as other compound like glycogen, but brain only wants glucose, nothing else. Okay, so when we are fasting, the glucose is released from the glycogen, from our liver, from our muscles, for brain. So brain comes the first. So the body will meet the requirement of the brain first. Then the rest during the long-term fasting. Now, the brain has 75% of water. The level of water, as you can see, it's very, very high. So drinking water is very important. Drinking liquids are very important. It has got a high percent of 80 to 20% protein also available, present, and also fat. So fat to protect, the brain parts, to, in the membranes. So we require fat as well in our body, because it's a very important part of the cell membranes. Each cell in our body needs some fat and protein. So both are present in all the cell membranes. Okay, other nutrients which are required and good for a healthy mind are omega fatty acids. So these fatty acids you can get from linseed, til, we call it in one of the Hindi language or Hindi language, pumpkin seeds, nuts, and some oils. Nuts, especially walnuts, is one of them, which is, I think the other nuts also equally good. Some oils, flaxseed oil, linseed oil, walnut oil, soya oil, all these things can give you, so you don't have to go into, other non-vegetarian sources, for example. So you have all vegetarian sources. Now, we've got these 4 very important nutrients here: vitamin B6, folate, B12, and iron. They are mostly added to the food, breakfast cereals, mainly, and milk, some of them, because they are not, they cannot be absorbed from milk, but B12 is added, I think recently. In UK, I haven't checked, but in some other countries, like in America, it's being added. So these are very, very important. Their deficiency causes anemia. So sometimes we say the iron deficiency anemia, which is specifically because of iron, lack of iron. But anemia can also be caused due to lack of B12, and B12 deficiency can be caused because of folate and because of B6. So they all are interlinked in the body. They don't work separately, they work together. And so the anemia is a condition which impacts our concentration, impacts on answering questions, for example, our intelligence, our response time. So that's, physiological effects, health effects also there, but mental health effects also very specific, and they are mainly due to some level of anemia or their deficiency. And it is recently known that, for example, folate can increase the homocysteine level. There is a specific amino acid, and that amino acid is known to be good for our mental health. Now, antioxidants are also required in our body, in cell membranes and in everywhere, which are vitamin A and C. These are the internal ones. We can have others, like other antioxidants as well, like polyphenols from tea, and other vegetarian sources like dals. Dals, they are not really good because they reduce the protein. So we should, if you want antioxidants, you plenty of in the tea and also in vegetables and fruits. So vitamin A in fats and oils, green, yellow, orange, vegetable and fruit. Vitamin C is present. Amla has the highest amount of, and this I remember from my undergraduate degree, actually, when I learned first time about it. Probably I should check, maybe there is a rival of amla, but this was the my memory. Then guava is available here, but I'm not asking you to be heavy on guava. One, it is really expensive here. Secondly, the taste, I have tried, my sister, everybody has tried. Normally it's not very good, but just to say, it is also a very good source. Citrus fruits, oranges, lime, lemon, and sprouted dal. So there are plenty of sources of vitamin C. Vitamin C is important for iron as well. Okay, so when you think iron, you should also think about vitamin C. So these antioxidants too are in terms of keep making it for the brain functioning, for the composition of the cell walls in the brain. So, okay, now next one. So how do we keep our mind young and healthy? The research shows that there is a wide range of nutritious foods which are better for keeping you young, making you live longer, and a healthy mind. And I'm afraid there is not, I think I've written here, not a magical food or foods or nutrients which can make, like, on their own can make you feel, happy and also healthy. But it comes again to the good food habits. They are very important, and not depend on one food or one nutrient to make your brain or your mind healthy. It's just a combination of your food, also your lifestyle. So physical activity, for example, yoga and breathing exercise, because they supply oxygen to the brain. Okay, so yoga, breathing exercise, physical activity is also good for heart disease because it supplies oxygen, but it's also for the brain. Hydration for mind and body. So the water is very, very important, as you saw, that how much water has to be contained in the brain. So we cannot dehydrate, otherwise you'll feel, some people feel like fainting type or dizzy, and often they'll realize either they have not had any food, or any food which might have a little bit of sugar, or they haven't had water. So two things they affect working of your brain is the sugar, I mean the food, I should say, not sugar, food and water. Meal patterns have also been, emphasized in some of them. I have written in my research, meal patterns are really important. Although, I'm also very naughty as well. I don't always keep it, but I don't want to give you my example as such. I try to, because my plate is normally biochemistry, the food, I know what is going where. But we try not to miss our meal timings. We should have meal patterns, the same. So the body is expecting you. If you are avoiding your food and you are irregular, then you can send, mixed messages to your brain that you are a very unreliable person to feed me, because brain is the first one which senses this and requires the food first. That, and the body then, stores this one because the brain tells the body to store some because this person is not. So the glycogen is stored, but excess of, the food still further goes into the fat. So meal patterns are really very important as well for. Okay, so I think that was the end of my slides and my talk. I would like to invite all of you now to have some discussions, some questions if you have, please. Happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Dr. Santosh Khokhar. That was fascinating. So many things there I learned that I never knew about. Simple things I never knew. Who knew that you can sprout many other things? I never knew that. And to cut vegetables larger, very, very simple, practical things. We've got probably about 5 minutes or so for questions. So if you do have any questions, please do send them through. I've got one question so far, or actually a couple. I've got one here, which is, what is the best cooking oil to use for Indian food, the healthiest option?
Okay, this is a very good question and can be challenging to choose from all of them. I would go back to the rapeseed oil, which is the mustard oil we have, and have the one which is, in the normal word, which is manufactured by compressing, cold compression, not by heat.
Okay, cold compressed oil. Okay.
Yeah, cold compressed oil, because traditionally, your parents or yourself must have seen in the villages, there used to be this oil manufacturing at village level, and they were all cold pressed. So that's good. But also sunflower, any seed. I think vegetable flour, when we buy, it is good. It contains, but some of the vegetable oil may not be of good quality, maybe good enough for frying once a while, but not, that good, because the ratio, the vegetable oil contains, let's say 1% of that, 2% of that, 5% of that. And to make it cheaper, they will have less oil from the cheaper source. Okay. So there is something there, you don't have to like complete change yourself, but I think mostly these things work as a variety. Don't stick to one thing.
Okay, so rapeseed oil, cold compressed rapeseed oil is a good option. Would you suggest that? It sounds like buying is always a good idea. Yes, in any oil you buy.
Always a good idea, yeah.
And buying cold compressed oils in other for other oils is also a good idea. Is that right?
Yeah. I think the sunflower oil, they all like good. Corn oil is very good as well for, frying. You can use also for, like tarka type cooking. So
brilliant. Thank you very much.
Nothing bad except what I said to you. Good quality is good because it has, proper ratios. The raw material, where the raw material is good quality, the price you will have to pay more. But sure, it doesn't mean that you're not getting anything from the, the average or below average price.
That makes sense. Yes. A couple more questions coming in. Can chocolate be made healthy?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Very, very challenging. So chocolate can be made healthy, but who will eat it? That's the question.
Okay.
So,
It will be healthy, but not delicious.
yeah, the chocolate, the main component of the chocolate is healthy. So that's the cocoa powder. Cocoa powder is full of some antioxidants. You must have heard some chocolates, good for like, health. So the main ingredient cocoa is healthy. However, it's not healthy because a lot of fat is required to make it what it tastes, and the sugar. In recent years, there has been some a change in chocolate production is reducing the um, sugar, replacing it with partly replacing it with sweeteners.
Okay.
So that's another way if your body goes well with the sweeteners. But I would really suggest that you have only, rarely the chocolate. Don't eat it like too much. It should be like a treat, like people used to say. But I know it's a very difficult one, and but that is it is. So when people will start, get used to eating, enjoying low sugar, the companies will produce low and low, so now
Is
there are
dark
some
chocolate better for you at all? Or not
chocolate is
necessarily?
better. Well, there is nothing in it which is wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so nothing is bad in it. There is the cocoa powder which is good. There is the sugar which is also good. It's not a poison. I mean, it has fat. Fat is also not a poison. So everything is good. What is not good is too much.
Okay. Moderation is key.
Yeah, too much
Okay.
of sugar in it, too much of fat in it, and if you eat too much of sugar, chocolate, then it's the problem.
That makes sense. I think that's one of the key messages from the talk is everything in moderation. When you hear often from nutritionists, which is a golden rule. I've only got time for a couple more. Apologies if we don't get through all of the questions. We do have Dr. Santosh Khokhar's email, and she's kindly provided that we can contact her directly. Just a couple more. One on optimal meal patterns. You mentioned it's important to have regular meal patterns. A question here is around, is it best to have 3 large meals or smaller meals with snacks in between? Should certain meals be larger than others? What's the kind of recommendation there?
Recommendation is depending on your activity. So for example, people who do physical work, their breakfast should always be bigger. Firstly, because the body is waking up from fast, and your breakfast will start its, working. Metabolism will start. So you can initiate your machine. So you're putting petrol, you initiate it, and it will last longer. But generally, people would have smaller breakfast, and this is what I'm saying. What people are having smaller, then the middle meal, lunchtime, and dinner is the biggest. But that could be changed. So rather than dinner being the biggest, lunch can be slightly bigger than the middle, and breakfast can be a bit bigger. So nobody can the same amount. It doesn't matter what you try. However, the distribution of your calories, should be more or less, let's say you have 2000, you can have, 500, 700, then, 700, something like what.
Okay, so larger meals perhaps earlier on in the day if you can, and maybe smaller meals towards the end. And what about for diabetics? Do they need to be extra aware of more regular energy, or the same applies to them?
Oh yes, they have to be very vigilant of, actually very calculative, that they have to know the composition of the food, how much carbohydrates, starch, sugar in the food, which food to eat, because they have to measure if they are taking insulin, then they have to measure insulin according to the carbohydrate content. So carbohydrate, when we say carbohydrate, they also include sugar, as you know.
Okay.
So it's all together.
Brilliant. One last question to finish off then. If you were to give us one thing that we should all start doing today to help improve our diet and nutrition, what would that one thing be?
Wow. I think I would say start eating variety of food. Don't just cut salad of onion and cucumber or onion and tomato, you know. And although I like our like typical salad in India, when I go to, it's only cucumber, tomatoes and onion, and sometimes it's mooli, isn't it? So please include more green leafy vegetables, include all the odd ones, you know, cabbages and everything, beetroot. So I think in Indian diets, I think salad can be improved.
Okay, so the top tip there is more variety in our salads.
Yeah.
That would
Also,
be
you can
brilliant.
add nuts as well, you know, rather than eating in between times. So it will fill people and make you, and these things you will see make you feel happy as well. When you eat healthy, you feel happy.
Yes, I
Yes.
would agree with that. I think that's
I've done it. Yeah.
a brilliant note to end on there. If you eat healthy, you'll feel happy. So thank you once again so much for a wonderful and eye-opening talk. I'm sure everyone has taken a lot away from the session. If anyone has any more questions for Dr. Khokhar, she's kindly provided her contact details. They should be in the chat there. And hopefully she'll be happy to answer some of your questions. So thank you again. We hope we can invite you to some of our future sessions. This is not one of those topics you can cover everything in 45 minutes or whatever it may be. So I'm sure in the future we'd love to have you cover other topics as well.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. So, guys, we're on to the final part of our session today. Apologies, we're running slightly over time. Our final talk this afternoon is on the effects of the pandemic on mental health. And as we know, COVID-19 has really turned our lives upside down. We've spent the majority of our time over the last year and a half indoors with very little contact with family and friends. And this obviously has affected everyone's mental health in some way. The good news is that we're nearly at the end of this kind of social distancing period. The restrictions should in the UK be lifted very soon. But as a result, as we return to normal, this poses new challenges for our mental health. And then transitioning into this post-COVID world can bring with it anxiety, nervousness, fear. So the question here is, how can we manage our mental health during this transition? I'm delighted to have Darshan Pindoria join us today for this session. Darshan is a psychologist and practitioner at Deep Psych. He is a friend and someone who I know makes psychology and discussions around mental health very accessible to the younger generation through the use of social media, which I think is great. So Darshan's going to discuss the effect of that COVID has had on our mental health and the things we can do as we transition into this post-COVID world to help us manage our mental health better. Thank you very much for joining us, Darshan. I'll hand it over to you.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Chetan. Hope everyone's feeling all good on the Sunday afternoon type of thing, meant to be recovery day. Chetan, can I just check? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep, we can hear you and see you really well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's in my little video room here, just in the garage. So just to kick things off, I don't want to take too much of your time. Fair enough. It's a big topic. Let's say if we start going into each specific, it'll be super huge. But we're just going to cover a general problem and we're going to hammer down on the solutions. But first things first, if everyone could just pop a comment in the chat of what they believe the meaning of mental health is. So what do you believe mental health means? This would just be for the rest of us just to read, get a bit of an idea of the term mental health, because this is what's happened. We've come out of a whole phase of saying physical health, physical this, physical that, and then we started noticing, hey, there's a big topic not being spoken about. Now, this topic is, it should have been spoken about many years ago, and we could have saved a lot of people's lives, we could have saved a lot of damage in society, etc. But now it's come to a point where a lot of people, they're suffering in silence. Now, that silence has only gone thanks to lockdown. That silence, imagine if you have to live with someone, you have to maintain that social culture within the house, that family culture has to be the same. And then if you come out and say there's a mental health issue, all of a sudden, oh boy, the dynamics have to change. Things that you wouldn't like to change start to change, the way you're seen, the way people perceive you, all these type of things. When a mental health issue arises, there's no need for us to treat someone that much more differently. There's a need for us to acknowledge there's going to be certain needs behind the person. Just reading out a few of the comments. We've got happiness. We've got a few mental illnesses on the list. Depression. Oh, so we've got state of mind, quality of thoughts. I could keep hammering down on this one. Mental health, essentially. Now, think about it from the perspective of physical health. Physical health is how well you can control your body. How well is it in control? Now, if there's something wrong with my hand, I've got a physical health issue with my hand. I cannot control my hand in a way it's meant to be done. The same thing if you've been injured. There is a physical injury. Now, with mental health, if you cannot control your thoughts, that is a lack of mental health. Now, your ability to push past certain issues, certain resistance, that's brain is something mental, not physical, fair enough. And then if you can push past resistance, that's your mental strength. Now, same thing with physical health. If you could push past lifting weights or any resistance on the body, now the stronger people, they could push a lot more weights, they could handle a lot more resistance. Mental health does affect your physical health. So this is what we're going to come down to. Mental health now. Now that we know what we're talking about, mental health is how well we can control our thoughts. Now, if we can't control it due to a mental illness, that's a mental illness now. So a mental illness could be something like, let's just say, an addiction. If you know as soon as this addiction arises in your head, you cannot control your thoughts anymore, that's a mental illness that's worth clearing. Now, same thing with depression. If you have vibed too low to be able to control your thoughts, to help you power your body, to help you power certain things in your life, that is now a mental illness. Same thing with anxiety. Anxiety releases a whole load of acid in your body, tension, all sorts of malfunctions, essentially, just due to the inability to control our thoughts in that time. If you can control your thoughts, you could control your anxiety. If you can control your thoughts, you can control your depression. It's a hand-in-hand type of thing. Now, let me just go into this. If we just hammer down on what lockdown has done to all of us, there's no one exempt from it. Even if you work in construction and you're still working through, this whole concept is, there's something called a box theory. I don't know if you guys come across this. Now, the box theory is something, it's a common term a bit more in America. There's when we go out to India, they do think of us as people living inside a box. And then we've heard this term, think outside the box. So what is this whole box theory? We wake up in a bedroom shaped like a box. Then we go into a shower, bath, all of these shaped like a box. Then we go down to eat, do whatever we do in a room shaped like a box, from a cereal box. Then we put our clothes on in front of a mirror, taking stuff out of another box. Then we go to work in either a train, car, or bus, all shaped like a box. Then we work in a cubicle shaped like a box in front of a computer, which is a box. And then we eat our lunch from a lunch box. And then we come home, sit in front of another box, which is a TV, to sit on a box, which is our sofa, in a room, which is a box. And then we go to sleep in a box, on a bed shaped like a box. So this whole concept of being in a box, and then one day eventually you die, they put you in a box, essentially. This whole concept of boxed thinking. Now, whatever your box is, this is your mental health type of area. This is where your thought process area is. Now, if someone comes to me with an issue, all I have to do is just track their day. I know in their day, their stresses, their issues, they're all surrounded in certain boxes. Now, as soon as if we want to get someone back into line, we just readapt what's going on inside those boxes. If you're watching TV or if you're on your phone and that's causing the issue, there's something in that box that needs tweaking, and then your life is all good. So there's box theory. Now, all of us, due to lockdown, we're pretty much the ideal clients for this box theory. Now, people living in this box, what's happened to us? We've just got too comfortable in our box, or that box makes you think about yourself, because there's not much in these boxes now. There's only a TV, there's your phone, and then there's you. Now, if you had unattended to mental illnesses or mental health issues, they would have come out 10 times more just because of lockdown. Before, they could have been avoided, you could have ditched them, you could be in so much other activities that you didn't have to acknowledge them. Then they're going to come out. If there's social issues, if there's family issues, all of these, they're going to start coming out. Why? Because your box is crammed with new information. Now, your house is become a spot for identifying everything. Literally, you can identify yourself, you identify this and that, and you don't have resources to help you now because of lockdown. You don't have your normal friend situation, professional situation, confidence building type of situations. Now these support structures, they're really good for us. But now that we don't have them, and we're going through this whole reflective series, it could lead people to avoidance schemes in the house. Avoidance schemes in the house, things like getting angry, things like substance abuse, things like addicted to TV, phone, whatever's going on. All of these type of things, they add up as a way to avoid dealing with reflecting ideas about yourself, or dealing with things that have not been addressed for a long time. I got pretty lucky in that sense. I started pushing out social media content just at the start of lockdown. It gave me a lot of time, and I was one of the people that have never stayed 24 hours in the house. Never. I was literally, because I learned about the box theory, I was like, stay outside the box, have open thinking, open conversations, everything I used to like to keep open. Then I got closed off in lockdown, and 15 days into it, just wasn't working for me. And then I needed something called a perspective change. So my perspective had to change. Then the perspective was, oh, lockdown won't last too long. You better use it whilst you can. When are we ever going to get days like this again? We know for a fact these type of days, they're not going to come again. So this type of thing about hammering down on what really matters to you, this reflection side of things, this productivity side of things, may not come again. So make the most of it. So that type of perspective change, many people never got, or many people, they had blocks on changing the perspective or doing things differently. So that was the problem now. People in their own households, because of this, suffered a lot. They've suffered just people's personality changes. They've actually become so different in themselves that they don't even identify. They can't identify who they actually are anymore, because they went from being treated as an employee, being treated as a work colleague, being treated as certain individuals. Then they're at home. They don't know what they're treated as, so they lose that sense of self-identity. We could go on this topic. It could add up, but mental health issues, they're on the rise like crazy, like never before. And there's nowhere near enough psychologists or enough mental health experts to help this situation. So what people are doing, they're doing it in congregation. They're doing, your foundation, they're doing it amongst more people, helping people, and that adds up because everyone's getting the help that they need through congregation. Certain things can't be sorted through congregation, though. These are the ones where they're built up over time, it's added up, and now you've got a package of damaging material in your mind. This package, before we never used to have to access it, so it's getting built up. Now we've had to access it, it's built up. There's people in the family that could trigger you. There's all sorts of ways that package of damaging thoughts can be triggered, and all of a sudden it could lead to a lasting mental health issue. The lasting mental health issues is what we're least aware about, especially amongst our community. We're not as aware about the lasting mental health issues. I've had people that have gone from full-time hardcore work, and then they had a mental health issue. It put them in a bed for 6 months because they couldn't move their feet. They couldn't access thoughts to handle their own body. This happens because we're working at an energy level that got cut. That same energy level is there, but it's going and turned against us. As soon as our thoughts turn against us, so does the energy in our life. It turns against us, and then it does lead to. It could be there's a dictionary of 313 or something like that. Mental health issues. Just that's called a parent category, and then there's a child categories underneath that. So out there, and then if you were to get a diagnostic, that costs a bomb at the moment. And then if you were to explain to a family, they wouldn't really know what to do. So there's this big part of what do we do to help ourselves? Let's start hammering down solutions before it kicks in. Because when it kicks in, it's not as easy to sort out, especially anger issues. Just simple one. In the house, someone starts getting angry, we just think, okay, that's just a habit, that type of thing. But then it builds up. If you had sorted out when it was early, it could have been nothing. But then if it builds up, you might end up doing some damage to the household. So those type of things. Same thing, depression. If you're sad at one point, if you get sorted in, it saves the whole load of hassle in the future. So this whole thing about awareness, mental health awareness, this is what we're out to do, just making sure that something happens, gets sorted. If someone passed away in the family, don't just treat it as, oh yeah, this person's strong, he went through this and that, is all good. Just make sure it gets sorted. Otherwise, 5 years down the line, if it kicks in, it's painful. So same thing with a physical health issue. If you've got pain in your leg, you get it sorted. Earlier we get it sorted, much better relief going forward, essentially. Now, just to round it up in terms of solutions now. So fair enough, you guys, you'll come across, because there's so many people with a mental health issue, we will come across so many. There'll be people right next to us at any one point, even in our own household, that have experienced a proper mental illness. This is how common it is. Essentially, I could go to, it's 4 out of 5 people. That's 80% of this country. They say antidepressants sold more than paracetamol for the first time since medicines were invented. This is there's various reasons for it. There's also the reason that antidepressants are regular medicine. Paracetamol is just a one-off, but this type of turn in events has happened right in front of our eyes, and it's happening amongst people that we actually know. Now, to help these people, there's going to be this thing that even us, we know lockdown's lifting, so how do we feel about it? Are we okay with this, or have we gone too comfortable with lockdown? There's going to be a change in our thoughts. If we think about our future in the way we are right now, we're going to scope out our future in the way we feel. So if we feel like a bit low ambition at the moment, a bit low things, if we feel that way right now, all of a sudden future scope, you're going to anticipate your future to be like this. So what we have to do is break out of this box. Then we want to do in our future. But till then, don't be thinking about the future, or don't even be thinking about the past, because you have set yourself in a certain vibe at the moment. Then we start planning for the future. So an example, I've got a client going for a divorce case. As soon as the divorce case is over, then you can think about the future. But if you think about it now, you're going to think about all the issues, and then you're going to think they're going to come up in the future, because it's just to think about the future or the past. So what you do is change the situation, then you think about whatever you want to think about. If you do it in a low vibe, you're always going to retain that low vibe. If you do it in a good vibe, if you do it with around friends, or if you do it around ambitious people, so make sure you are in a good vibe before doing any thoughts relating to planning. If you do this the opposite way, it's devastating. It could be, if you're depressed and you think about doing better things, you're going to end up with more depression. It's a hard way to do this. You can't just tell someone, "I'll cheer up." It doesn't work. We have to change the state. Then we have to get them realigning the plans. Then they just follow the plan. Everything works out, essentially. So what my advice is to for all of us, if we know someone that's going through these type of issues, help them change the state. Help them get out of the box. Do things differently. Do things differently is a key word. If they do things differently, they're doing the same things, but they're doing it differently. So if they eat, put some music on, do this, do that, do things differently. Whatever you're doing, carry on doing it, but do it differently. I can't stress enough. As soon as they start doing things differently, breaks the pattern, breaks the lockdown pattern. Once that pattern is broken, then you guys can start thinking of things with a bit more variety in the future, and then get yourself out there to follow your desired plans. as soon as we do it in this lockdown mentality, we're going to carry over certain vibes that is going to hold us back. It's not really helpful for us, and especially with anxiety sufferers. If you think about your way out of anxiety, whilst you've got anxiety, it's going to lead you to more anxiety. So what we need to do is clear the anxiety first, whatever the situation is, whatever the reason is, clear that first, then plan your future and plan whatever you want to do. Make sure these things are cleared. Just want to open it up. If there's any questions, do throw it out there. I'll keep talking for a bit, but any questions, I could just take them as and how they're coming through. So there's the common ones that we know. There's something called cross-comparison culture. Cross-comparison culture has gone through the roof because of social media. We are comparing ourselves to other people at a scale that's never been done before. When I was growing up, I might be compared to my cousin once in a while for exam results. But now a teenager is comparing themselves so much, it's crazy. There was a research that I found recently to say in the 60s, a psychiatric patient, their EEG waves are the same as a teenager at the moment suffering anxiety. That's a psychiatric patient in the 50s. Right now, teenagers are hitting that level of anxiety, and this has come from cross-comparison culture. Whatever you could do will for your benefit if you know how to, but if you're not using it for your benefit, anxiety nice and deep, that is forming a package of damaging thoughts. Whether you put this package of damaging thoughts to the side, or whether you diffuse them, whatever it is, it's still there. There's a package of damaging thoughts. A lot of us, we grew up and we will just have one or two, and those will kind of get bigger, and then in the future, it does affect us. But nowadays, teenagers, a package of this, and then in the future, it could get triggered off in all sorts of ways, and it goes into our body. There's certain ways. Let's say if someone's coming with anxiety, I have to find out where in the body is that anxiety. If it's from the stomach, it's more of a life or death situation type of anxiety. If it's in the back, it's more to do with the past. And then if it's like a shoulders, neck thing, it's definitely current. With the anxiety around the 3 to 4 days mark, something that's going to happen in the next 3 days, or what's happened in the last 3 days, that type of thing. So we see it all around us. Like I said, there's so many cases, unbelievable. You're guaranteed to bump into someone. Now, the question came in for parents. Now, parents, they actually know about this, but there's no way. Hey, how do we recognize yet? So I'll cover those questions. So for parents, let's cover this one. Our parents grew up in a state where they weren't allowed to explain something as a mental illness. They just weren't allowed. But they do know certain things that relate to a physical illness that comes from a mental illness. They know that losing your hair is from tension. They know that if you're losing weight, it's because you're stressed about something, or if you're struggling to sleep, there's various other reasons. They know certain things. So now, based on what they know, we have to explain it to them on that basis. We can't just go in and say, this person's just got a knot in the stomach. They all start going to what they know. Indians, it does come out as a thing to say, oh yeah, if we know the solution, if we've heard it from someone else, just throw it here and act useful. It doesn't really work like that. So if you think about it, the kind of upbringing our parents and their parents' generation came from, they were in one village. They didn't really have that much transport, so they never used to cross compare, or they never used to reach out of their box. Essentially, their box was that village. Now, in that village, everyone becomes like-minded. Essentially, now if you've got one issue, you feel like sharing. You feel that is a common thing just to share all of that, gossip, all of that, whatever these types in that one village. Now, they've come from that. They've come to whatever they are now. They're sharing stuff on WhatsApp freely. They're sharing any random information. This happened a lot when lockdown started. All of a sudden, people just spreading gossip like crazy and all of this. So we know that this is there. The way they most understand health, we have to explain it in that way. If they understand health in stress, or if they understand health in sadness, what we call udaspanu, and if they understand anxiety, we have to explain it in a way they understand. If we just sit there complaining, you just don't understand, I can't talk to you, you don't understand. If someone goes, they know certain things. We just need to find out what this individual knows. Every individual is different in that sense. Find out what health aspect they know about, and then we could hammer down on that. Explaining it to them, it is, I would say, easier now. they know there's loads of cases of people committing suicide, all of these type of things. They know there's more of that happening right now. So it is that much easier to explain to that generation. How do we recognize a mental illness ourselves? So always think about it from a situation. If you had a situation that was hard, if you failed an exam, just an example, do get that cured. Just this mental health awareness, it should be to the level that is with doctors. We will, like, if I call in sick from work, they will say, oh yeah, get a checkup by a doctor, get a checkup by a doctor. Same thing with mental illness. Why can't we start getting things checked out when they're small? Just get them checked out by a friend or someone that knows you, or literally just watch a YouTube video on the topic if need be, last resort. But these little things, they need to start getting checked. Otherwise, if it builds up to something huge. It's like something so small just goes massive because our mind has this ability to amplify. Same thing on social media. If one of our friends got a comment that's bad, just check up on them, make sure, hey, is everything all good? You good? Toughen them up, get the vibe up. Otherwise, little things add up, and then it could wipe out someone's ability just to live freely in the mind.
So Darshan, sorry to interrupt there. The advice here is, if you feel like you might be suffering in some way from mental health, the first step is to speak to someone close to you and have a discussion, because getting things out of your head can, as a first step, automatically puts things into a more realistic perspective. Is that what you mean?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that is. So essentially, if we just understand one point, the cure to every mental health issue is speaking your mind openly. Now, we don't do that, so we get left thinking all of these type of things. But any mental health issue, we could look into, even anxiety. Your ability to speak your mind openly is the cure. Now, it is harder to do. It's easier said than done type of thing. Speak your mind openly. It tends to be based on your relationship dynamic with whoever you're talking to. But it does come down to that. If you are struggling in any form of situation, just get a check. Talking openly, it's a therapy in itself. Now, if they can't help you, they get some professional help essentially. But till then, this was such a big thing back in the days culture. This is why we only recently started hearing about mental health issues. Before, everyone used to sit outside the house on benches. They used to go out to families' houses. They used to have stuff to catch up on. Speaking your mind openly became an instant thing. This is even before phones. People were speaking their mind openly, and then this is what's happened now due to social media. We think we have to be seen in a certain way, or whatever blocks we put up to speaking our mind openly. That's where the package of damaging thoughts, it just starts getting built essentially.
That's really helpful. That's really helpful. Thank you, Darshan. So I think there's two parts there, I suppose. For someone who is experiencing it themselves, it's a good idea for them to speak to someone. If you feel like, one of the questions here was for parents where their kids who are teenagers might be going through something, but they may not want to speak to the parents, perhaps that might be fine, and they should speak to someone, maybe a friend of theirs. As long as they're speaking to someone, that might help, right? I'm just thinking, conscious of time. I know we're going to be going over, so we've gone significantly over, sorry. So if we were to conclude with one final question, which is, everyone is going to be going through this transition now from lockdown life to kind of post-COVID life, back to normal life, basically. If you were to give one piece of advice to everyone on one thing they can do to help ease that transition for themselves, what would you say?
Essentially, it does come down to this. I've said the one that do things differently, but keep that one in mind, everyone. But right now, if you're waking up and brushing your teeth, just change your hand, do things differently, it'll really play with your mental health. But the next one essentially is know your patterns. So if you've got a pattern that, even if it was before, if you've got a pattern of thinking, if you know it, you can play it essentially. So I've been pretty lucky with clients essentially that never had to go beyond the third or fourth session, because what happens is they've got a way of doing things. We just need to use that way to help them do the better things. But if we have to put a new pattern in, it's hard. it's devastating. Same thing with right now. We heard a whole load of diet changes that we know we need to do. But for us to do that, we have to find out our pattern of preferred change. So my pattern essentially is to talk to 5 people and get them to tell me. So that's my preferred style. So if I was to change it and try to do the written way and this and that, it's harder to pick up a new pattern. So what is your style, and play it to your benefit now. So let's say if it was a lot of people, we had a style of, I like to be at work in the office and doing this. That's your style. Find out why it's your style, and then start swinging it towards other things. But it is that whole introspect, know yourself better. Hopefully lockdowns helped you learn more about yourself. And if it
that's
hasn't,
really useful. I think that's really two pieces of advice you gave there. One is do small things differently, which can help you to break out of the cycle that you might already have at the moment, and just tiny things, and that might help you to, you know, slowly expand your kind of horizon a bit, and know your patterns, know how you can make change in your life, what works for you and what doesn't, right? So that's really useful. I'm so sorry to have to, to cut it here, but thank you so much for joining today's talk. I think that was really useful. Some of the tips you gave, some of the very practical things we can do, and some of the facts around how you know common it is for people to have mental health issues. It's not something we discuss enough at all in society, but certainly not in our community. It's very much a taboo subject. So we try as much as we can at your foundation to have regular discussions on mental health. So thank you. Last thing I wanted to say is, if people wanted to find you and find your content, which is really cool, where can they find you?
Oh, so at the moment it's mainly Instagram. I've got YouTube, but it's Deep Psych PSYC for Deep Psych. That's essentially it. I'll push out a video every day, push out some quotes here and there. But it's if you are more interested in a topic, yeah, feel free to reach out. Any topics that weren't covered, I could push out a video if need be after. Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was Darshan Pindoria on the effects of the pandemic on our mental health. So we've come to the end of our session today, everyone. Thank you all for joining our International Day of Yoga and Mental Health Seminar event. Thank you to our wonderful experts who joined us, who took time out of their busy schedules. Dr. Abhaya Mohan, who did our yoga session, Dr. Santosh Khokhar, who did our nutrition session as well, and finally Darshan Pindoria, who did our session on the effects of the pandemic on our mental health. Thank you all for joining and sticking with us. I know we went slightly over. I hope you found the session useful, informative, and I hope there are a few things there that you can take away and apply to your life to make a small difference in whatever way you can. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Namaste and thank you.